Broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studios in Atlanta, Georgia, it's time for Learning Insights, brought to you by Training Pros. When you have more projects than people, Training Pros can provide you with the right L&D consultant to start your project with confidence. Now, here's your host.
Lee Cantor here, another episode of Learning Insights, and it's important to recognize our sponsor, Training Pros. Without them, we could not be sharing these stories. Today's going to be a fun episode because we have the folks from SHRM. Pat Lynch is here, the president of SHRM-Atlanta. Welcome, Pat.
Hello.
For the two people out there who aren't familiar with SHRM, Pat, do you mind sharing a little bit about mission and purpose of SHRM and how you're serving the folks here in Atlanta?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, SHRM is the national association that is involved with advancing, excellence in the workplace, and it's all around just how organizations of any size can create great workplaces and get the most productivity and satisfaction from their employees. SHRM-Atlanta is the local chapter here in the Atlanta area, and I am the 2021 volunteer president. We're one of the 6 largest what they call mega chapters of SHRM, and I'm glad to be here.
Now, what's your backstory? Have you always been involved in the HR space in your whole career?
Yeah. I'll give you a real quick backstory. No, I got involved in the HR space 10 years ago when I became president of a outplacement company called the Frontier Group. Kind of where I am today through a merger is that I'm now the vice president of global operations for a virtual outplacement provider called Career Minds. Before that, I was in marketing in a variety of consumer products, and got to a point in my career where I was looking at making a meaningful pivot, and I ended up in the HR space, and I'm so glad to be here.
Now, what drew you to kind of really immersing yourself in SHRM and taking an active leadership role as opposed to, just joining and being, kind of a passive member?
Well, part of it is that, the SHRM, the people I engage with, as far as my customers are all HR decision makers. So it was natural for me to be involved with the local SHRM-Atlanta chapter. Me on a personal level, I'm very much somebody that wants to join. And I have that heart to serve. I'm the chairman of the board for Special Pops Tennis. I've been a mentor at Year Up. I've been involved as a basketball coach for Special Olympics. So, being a volunteer leader at SHRM-Atlanta was just one more thing that I just enjoy doing. It's a really wonderful community. Our volunteer leadership team numbers over 120 people. And it just is something that for me, a SHRM-Atlanta membership is just so much more enhanced when you volunteer and get involved in it. And so I've done everything from being an ambassador to running different programs and getting involved with a variety of verticals, and ended up as the president.
And that's good advice for young folks, not just to join organizations like SHRM, but kind of lean into it and take some leadership and some volunteer roles to really get the most out of your membership, because these kind of business associations, you only really benefit if you're kind of working there. You can't just passively just pay your dues and expect to get anything out of it. Absolutely,
Lee. And, I'll take a footnote from Andy Stanley at North Point Church, where he has that really profound statement about circles are better than rows. And that I find is a good example of what you can get when you volunteer at SHRM-Atlanta, because you can attend the events and then they're all important and there's great learning and you get certification credits. But being part of the community, volunteering in some form, will just so much more enhance your experience and the value of your membership.
Well, speaking of enhancing the value of the membership, let's bring on the guest you brought with you. Who did you bring with you?
I have Guillermo Corea, and Guillermo is with I'll call it a workplace tech incubator called Paragonlabs with SHRM National. And I'll say hello, Guillermo, and I'll let him take over from here.
Welcome, Guillermo.
Hey, Pat. Hey, Lee. It's a pleasure to be with you guys.
Well, I'm excited to learn about Paragonlabs and the partnership you have with SHRM. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure, absolutely. So Paragonlabs is SHRM's workplace innovation lab and venture capital arm. And essentially, it's a group that was created, or an initiative that was created a couple of years back. And the sole purpose of it is to inspire innovation to create better workplace technologies that solve today's most pressing workplace challenges, such as pay equity, diversity and inclusion, toxic workplace cultures. And essentially, we support SHRM in elevating HR as a thought leader on the future of work and workplace technology. We leverage the collective expertise of our members as well as staff to help these tech innovators create technologies that are catered to the needs of workers in the workplace. And at the same time, this is where our venture capital arm comes into play. We identify, evaluate, and enable the success of startup companies in workplace technology.
So now, what was the catalyst that brought this kind of incubator thinking into the world of SHRM? Because I think that's pretty innovative.
Yes, well, the workplace is constantly changing, especially over the past year, as you can imagine with the pandemic. There have been a lot of changes that have occurred from, a lot of people having to work remotely, all the different policies that companies have had to implement, to make sure that the employees are safe in the workspace. So there's a lot of changes that are happening. And it's something that we kind of saw 2-3 years ago that we really needed to, to put together a team like this to make sure that SHRM is out there at the forefront of making sure that the right workplace technologies are being developed, if you want to call it that. And like I said at the beginning, that they're being done to cater to the needs of the worker in the workplace. So that's how this all came about.
Right. But what was the kind of thinking behind a lot of business associations are there to support the work of their members, but to take kind of an investment angle to this and have venture capital associated with it, what was kind of the thinking there? Because that is pretty innovative in my mind. I don't see a lot of business associations taking that tact.
Right. Well, you got to remember that as an association, right, everything that SHRM gains, we put it back into the profession. So by expanding the you could say the revenue that SHRM generates, we're really able to expand learning opportunities for our members, the different types of events that we bring to the forefront. Like, for example, one of the things that Pat and I have discussed is perhaps the creation of a workplace tech event that we might be able to launch in 2022. So that's if you want to focus it on the investment capital and the returns that you get from that, that's the reason why we're interested in it, because it simply just gives SHRM more capital to invest back into our members and the profession.
Now, has that occurred yet? Are you actively investing in companies right now, or is it still too early for that?
It's still too early. We're in the process of putting all the necessary infrastructure together right now, because as you can imagine, with venture capital, there's a lot of different policies and processes that have to be put in place in order to be able to do it properly. So right now, that's what we're in the process of doing.
And then let's talk a little bit about this Better Workplaces Challenge Cup. Is that what you were talking about in a second ago?
Yes. Well, so we have 3 main initiatives that Paragonlabs is launching this year. One of them is the Better Workplaces Challenge Cup, which for those that are interested in learning more about it, You can just go to betterworkplaceschallengecup.com and you'll get all the necessary information. So essentially, it's a pitch competition for these innovators, to showcase, all these different workplace technologies that are happening. We actually kicked it off yesterday with our New York City SHRM chapter, and we're going to be doing the local round in Atlanta on March 2nd. So that's one of the initiatives that we're launching. The other two initiatives that we're going to be launching this year are our Workplace Tech Accelerator, as well as the Workplace Tech Community.
Now, how does a company kind of participate in these? Do they nominate themselves? They have to be nominated by other folks?
Yes, there's an application process. So it's really not about nomination or getting a nomination from anybody. It's just about going to the website, looking at the criteria, and then applying. The way that the competition is set up is that we're having 19 local rounds based on the different SHRM regions throughout the U.S. From the 19 local rounds, the top 3 companies are gonna get to advance to the regional rounds. We have 5 regions, and then the 5 regional winners are going to be invited to participate at a finals event that's going to be happening at the SHRM Annual Conference and Exposition in Chicago this year. And by the way, the SHRM Annual Conference is the largest gathering of HR professionals in the world. It's usually attended on a typical year by over 18,000 people.
And that'll be done virtually?
The local round and regional rounds are being done virtually, and the finals event is going to be done live at the annual conference. And like I said, we're inviting the finalists, and they will get a full paid trip to the SHRM Annual Conference. And
then what's some of the criteria you're looking for someone to kind of be successful in this Challenge Cup?
Yeah, so number one is, obviously, we're SHRM, the Society for Human Resource Management. So we're looking for companies that are innovating and creating better workplaces. So as long as that's what the company is working on, then that's the number one criteria. And then number two, we had to put a limit in regards to the amount of revenue that a company has, as well as the funding. And so we put that limit at $10 million. And we've been able to generate some very, very great companies that have applied so far.
And for you, what's going to be kind of a high five moment where you know that this was doing what you wanted it to do?
Honestly, it's really about finding those great new technologies that improve the workplace. I mean, just to give you an idea, the top 3 companies that advanced from yesterday's event in New York, one of them has created technology that makes it easier for companies to provide childcare benefits to their employees. I think all of us have heard about a lot of the childcare issues that have happened because of the COVID pandemic. So we thought that this is a great company to advance. We have another company that has a hiring platform for veterans and people with disability, and that's another great way of creating better workplaces. And then finally, we have a company the third company that is advancing. They have a career development platform. There's a lot of employees out there that have either been laid off or are looking for that next career path. And we think that this company is going to be one of those that's going to help these types of employees.
Now, do you find that? Do you think that looking forward, that technology is going to be able to help in this kind of the diversity side of the businesses?
Absolutely. A lot of people get scared with technology, especially when you think about AI or artificial intelligence and robots, right? A lot of people are afraid of these technologies because they think that these technologies are going to take away their jobs. When, as a matter of fact, for every job that is taken over by a robot, two extra jobs are created, because you really need two people to be able to keep up with how fast robots go, right? So when you look at diversity and inclusion, there are some great technologies that are coming out there. Like, for example, we have a company that we've been talking to that they have developed artificial intelligence that looks at performance reviews and is able to determine if there are any biases in the performance reviews. And there's a lot of data out there that clearly shows that, for example, pay equity is one of the main issues that we're trying to solve here. And a lot of that goes back to the performance reviews that people are getting throughout their careers.
And that unconscious bias that's happening, that's kind of elevating some folks over other folks.
Correct. Exactly.
And that's
Lee, it goes even, if you think it starts even in the interview process, and there's technology solutions that are emerging that will help in removing any kind of bias in candidate selection or in the way you write your job postings. So there's a lot of different things technology can do in terms of removing the bias, and also there's a lot of things where it will begin to democratize a lot of the benefits that organizations have. Like, as an example, Guillermo was talking about like that the one SaaS provider that has career pathing and career development. Typically, organizations would only invest in like the most senior level people in terms of any kind of coaching and development. When you find a affordable technology solution, now you can push that development down further into the organization, and much more people can benefit from it.
Yeah, that's amazing, and hopefully this is going to accelerate some of these, get these issues solved a lot faster than if we were just going to continue on the same manual path that we've been doing, where people just say, okay, I'm going to try harder. This way, you're really kind of creating systems in place that allow these solutions to really have an impact. That should accelerate things, right?
Absolutely. Go ahead, Pat. I'm sorry.
Well, go ahead, Guillermo.
No, well, what I was going to say is that, absolutely. And then when one of your earlier questions was around, why is SHRM getting involved in all of this? One of the things that I mentioned in the beginning is that, we're helping or supporting SHRM in elevating HR as a thought leader in the workplace, right? And what a lot of these technologies also do is that, besides just helping or helping the employee, they also help HR, because it frees up HR from having to do these manual tasks that can easily be done by technology, and then that allows them to be more strategic in anything else that they do. It just frees up their time to do more strategic stuff, for lack of a better way of putting it.
And then and the bottom line is that it really impacts the culture of the organization.
Yes, it definitely impacts the culture of the organization, without a doubt.
So now, what do you need more of, Guillermo? How can we help you?
Well, for now, we would love for the Atlanta audience to join us at the Better Workplaces Challenge Cup Atlanta event that's going to be happening on March 2nd. Like I said, it's going to be virtual, so it's very easy to join and watch 10 great new innovators, technology companies, and see how the workplace is being changed by them.
Now, Pat, is that
Yes.
What can we be doing for you? What can we get more folks out there at this event, and maybe think about getting more active at SHRM? What do you need?
Well, first, on the Challenge Cup, the competition, we're still accepting registrations from any workplace tech startup that's in the metro Atlanta area and wants to be part of it. Just go to the website that we mentioned before, and we're accepting registrations through next Friday, February 19th.
Okay.
And so, we'll then select the top 10 that we feel will be the best qualified. and move from there. It's a great opportunity for our local startups to get visibility and that opportunity to win the cup and get the recognition and some financial backing as well. Also, is SHRM-Atlanta is just a vibrant HR community that anybody that's in the HR space, we always welcome them to become a member. While we've been doing a lot of things virtually, we're still able to connect as a team. We have a great symposium event coming up in late March. Our annual conference, which we call SOAR, will be in September, and we are looking for that to be a hybrid event of a mixture of in-person and virtual. So that'll be a big highlight for the year.
And Pat, if somebody wants to get connected with SHRM, what's the website for SHRM?
Sure, it's SHRMAtlanta.org, and just go on there, and it's very intuitive in terms of finding any more information and ways that you can get involved. And
Guillermo, what is the website for people wanting to learn more about Paragon Labs?
It's paragonlabs.shrm.org.
And then one more time, that the Better Workplace Challenge Cup.
The website is betterworkplaceschallengecup.com.
Good stuff. Well, thank you, gentlemen, for sharing your story. You're doing important work, and we appreciate you.
Right. Thank you, Lee.
Very much.
All right, this is Lee Cantor. We will see you all next time on Learning Insights. And remember, this show could not be done without the support of our sponsor, Training Pros. Please support them so we can continue to share these important stories.
Thank you for listening. For more information about Training Pros, visit their website at training-pros.com.